reading his story shows you all the red flags from childhood, like the abuse that he suffered from his parents. Can you expand upon? And you look at what has happened with like Pol Pot in Cambodia or even the Cultural Revolution in China, like millions of people were killed.
Yeah.
Families were turning against each other, friends against each other. Like it just blows my mind that that's possible.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so interested in it.
I mean, Xi Jinping's origin story is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, as I try, I want to be clear. I don't have empathy for terrorists and stuff like that. But I want to, when I see like a hardcore dictator, a hardcore terrorist, I do try to understand from my piece of the pie here, whatever that is, to say like, to figure out how did they get there? Because how can we figure out one less of them in the next generation, right? Same. And you see Xi Jinping, like the shortened story, his father was in the Communist Party, pissed off the Communist Party with something, right?
Yep.
He got kicked out, and then Xi Jinping, who was like 5 or 6, was forced to wear a sign in the middle of town that basically said, "My father is a traitor to the Communist Party, I'm scum." And his mom had to walk by and I believe spit on him at one point. And so this guy who, he is a very smart guy. I have to give him that. Bad guy, but smart guy. His whole life was like, oh, I'll fucking show you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to spit on me? You're going to make my mom spit on me? I'll be in charge of this shit.
Yeah.
And that's how the sociopath is born.
Yeah. People's childhood shapes them so much into adulthood. I mean, if you look at Bruce Ivins, for example. Bruce Ivins was the suspected anthrax letter guy.
Yes.
Right? He committed suicide.
Yep.
There's a book, I think it's called Mirage Man. It's a fabulous book. I highly recommend it. It's so well written. I'm an insider threat, like, I don't know, expert, devotee. I love all things insider threat. I used to recruit the insiders. But reading his story shows you all the red flags from childhood, like the abuse that he suffered from his parents. Can you expand upon this? Yeah. So he had just really horribly abusive parents. He went through, as he was younger and went into college. I mean, he had all kinds of other issues, but went into college and started like stalking sorority girls, broke into the sorority house, stole their little, I don't know, like a little sorority Bible thing. I don't know what you call it. I was clearly not in a sorority. Stole that, harassed and stalked other women throughout his career. When the anthrax letters were sent, he was initially, they were like, what about this guy? And he was dismissed as this like bumbling weird dude. But then he goes to the FBI and he's like asking questions like, let me help. I want to help with the investigation. But they were investigating him. Like just these crazy history, right? And so when you look at someone, it's called The Critical Pathway. Doctors Eric Shaw and Laura Sellers wrote this back in 2015. But basically you have personal predispositions. So whatever his were, we all have them. Narcissism, by the way, is like highest risk for insider threat. So personal predispositions doesn't mean you're a bad guy yet. But then you add in stressors, personal, professional, external, financial, right? Business, maybe you're not getting promoted, maybe you got a divorce, all those things. When you compound the predispositions with the stressors, that's when you start to see someone's pattern of behavior change, those red flags, right?
Yeah.
And that Bruce Ivins, same, red flag, red flag, red flag. And nobody caught on to it. He even had therapists, psychiatrists, try to report him to the army for having all kinds of issues, and they were ignored, right? Yeah. So if no one intervenes, if there's no investigation, if there's no intervention of any kind, that person is essentially allowed to walk down that critical pathway until they conduct a malicious act, which is what he did.
Yeah. No, it's I haven't critical pathway.
Critical pathway.
That's interesting.
Sean Sellers.
Yeah. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.